Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Hip Kumar News. Here I am reading all news articles or editorial. This is our today editorial. Should water be used as a weapon? Precious resource. Water diverted from Kishan Ganga Dam flow into the Vuller Lake in Bandipura, north of Srinagar on May 14 AFP. What does the Indus Water Treaty provide for? How has it been able to withstand three major wars between India and Pakistan? How have disputes surrounding India's hydropower project been arbitrated? How have other countries dealt with cross-border river disputes? Can an explainer the story so far? All is fear is love and war is a phrase that has literally roots and rhetorical appeal, suggesting that in matter of passion and conflict, rules can be discarded and morality suspended. But in the real politic of nation state, especially when it's come of shepherd natural resources, such romantic notions may be Pisces water, unlike charity or idolatry, is not merely a symbol of humanity, it is a lifeline. Now that India was held the Indus Water Treaty IWT with Pakistan in abeyance in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack, the question is not only about what is fair but also about what is legal and sustainable. Can water be wielded as a weapon without collateral damage to international credibility and long-term national interest? What is the history of the treaty? The IWT was born out of goodwill but necessity. In 1947, the partition carved two nations out of British India but left the rivers of the Indus Basin backwardly distributed. The headworks of the system crucial for irrigation fell within India territory, while Pakistan was downstream and entirely dependent on river flow. When India briefly halted water supply to Pakistan in 1948, alarm bells rang across the region. It was in this context that the World Bank stepped in to mediate what has how become one of the most successful water sharing agreement in modern history. Signed in 1960, the IWT allocated the eastern river, the Ravi, Beas and Satluj to India and the western river, the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab to Pakistan, while allowing India certain non-consumative uses such as generating hydropower provided they meet stringent design and operation conditions. It was a carefully calibrated compromise that reflected not just geography but also the broader imperative of regional stability. The treaty was withstood three major wars: 1965, 1971, and 1999, repeated border skirmish, and a complete diplomatic breakdown. Its durability lies in its technical framing and insulation it provides from political upheaval. Annual meeting between the Permanent Indus Commission continue even during times of war. The IWT dispute resolution mechanism, which include bilateral consultation, natural expert analysis, and if needed mediation through a court of arbitration, has enabled the treaty of function despite deep mistrust between the two countries. Yet in recent years, the insulations of the IWT from larger geopolitics has come under increasing strain. What about India's hydro infrastructure development? For India's renewed security of IWT has come in the wake of terrorist attacks which have been claimed by Pakistan-based group. The 2016 Uri attack and the 2019 Pulwama bombing catalyzed calls from within India to re-examine the treaty. Some voices, particularly in political crisis, suggested that water could be used as leverage, arguing that it was morally untenable to continue honoring an agreement with the state that encourages cross-border terrorism. This shift in turn has coincided with India's increasing hydropower infrastructure development in Jammu and Kashmir. Projects like the Kishan Ganga on the Jhelum and Red on the Chenab hydroelectric plants have been flashpoints of contentions between both countries. While India insists these are compliant with treaty provisions, Pakistan argues that the design feature gives India excessive control over water flow, especially during the lean season, potentially threatening Pakistan agriculture and ecological security. Pakistan has therefore invoked the IWT adjudicatory mechanism in the Kishanganj dispute. Pakistan alleged India's diversion of water to a power plant. The Court of Arbitration constituted in 2010 ruled in 2013 that India could proceed with the division provided that it maintaining a minimum downstream flow. The court also imposed limits on how India could manage its reservoirs. In the Rattle case, a fresh procedural conflict emerged. India sought the appointment of neutral expert, considering it a technical issue, while Pakistan wanted a court of arbitration. In 2016, the World Bank, tasked with administrating the treaty dispute process, paused. Both requested to avoid parallel proceeding. However, in 2022, it allowed both to go forward, promoting India to boycott the arbitration proceeding while participating in the natural expert process. This precedence is significant. It confirms that the legal architect of the IWT is not only active but likely to be triggered against it. India were to withdraw from the treaty, far from giving India decisive leverage. Such a move could backfire while inviting a flurry of legal, diplomatic, and reputational consequences. Can a third party mediate? India has long maintained, especially since the Shimla Agreement in 1972, that all dispute with Pakistan must be resolved bilaterally. This has been New Delhi's consistent position, particularly with regard to third party mediation on Kashmir. Eh, However, the IWT predates the Shimla Agreement and contains its own provision for third-party adjudication. Natural expert arbitrary are not external interlopers but treaty sanctioned. The mediator agreed upon by both parties. India's participation in the Kishanganj arbitration and the natural expert process for Rattle, however, begrudgingly acknowledges this reality. The invocation of the Shimla Agreement cannot nullify what the IWT permit. What's about other such dispute? Inter-country water dispute are not unique to South Asia. Europe to have witnessed water tension, particularly in the aftermath of war. After World War, for dispute across between Hungary and Czechoslovakia over the use of the Danube River. These were largely managed through negotiated settlement under the League of Nations framework. More recently, the Gabic-Nagymer case between Hungary and Slovakia related to dam project on the Danube was taken to the International Court of Justice (ICJ). The ICJ ruled in 1997 that both parties had breached aspects of their treaty obligation and urged cooperative implementation to slow the resolution process. Understand the importance of legal framework over unilateral action. Another example in the Mekong River dispute in Southeast Asia. Countries like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand share this crucial river, and the tensions have flared over hydro projects. Yet the Mekong River's remission, a multilateral framework for dialogue, has helped over conflict through transparency and data sharing. In both cases, the central lesson was that when nations threaten into unilateralism, the result is stalemate or escalation. But when legal and diplomatic channels are preserved, even deeply rooted dispute can be managed, if not fully resolved. What is the risk of withdrawing from the IWT? Unilaterally withdrawing from the treaty would likely invite sharp international sanctions. India's image is a responsible reason power should be undermined, especially at a time when it seeks a greater role in global governance. The World Bank, which served as guarantor to the treaty, will be compelled to intervene diplomatically, if not legally. Such a move could also alarm neighbors in the Himalayan basin, such as Nepal and Bangladesh, who might become worried about any future water cooperation. Legally, the IWT is a binding international treaty. There is no provision for withdrawal under the Vienna Conventions on the Law of Treaty. The unilateral act is only possible under extreme and narrowly defined circumstances. Moreover, water is not as static as it is a basic human right. Using it as instrument of retaliation raises ethical questions that go beyond border cutting off or even reducing water flow could devastate downstream community, especially during lean period. Even in the threat of nation security, collective punishment violate its moral norm. India's true strength lies not in weaponizing water, but in showcasing its commitment to a rules-based border. What should be done? India has every right to maximize its permitted uses under the IWT, including building hydropower projects within the framework of the treaty. It has already done also in Kishan Ganga, and is going to in Rethal, albeit an illegal contestation, but abandoning the treaty would erode legal high ground and may place India on the defensive internationally. The IWT stand are a rare monument to cooperation in an otherwise fractious relationship, demonstrating that even an adversarial transaction can agree to share what is vital and scare water to undo what would not only undermine decades of diplomacy but also set a dangerous precedent for how natural resources are used or misused in conflict zone. In a war, not all may be fair, and love for fair. Some things must remain sacred. K. Kernan is a senior counsel mediator and a former judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court. The JITS India renewed security of the IWT has come in the wake of terrorist attacks which have been claimed by Pakistan-based group. The 2016 Uri attack and the 2019 Pulwama bombing catalyzed calls from within India to re-examine the treaty. Intercountry water disputes are not unique to South Asia. Europe too has witnessed water tension, particularly in the aftermath of war. After World War I, dispute arose between Hungary and Czechoslovakia over the use of the Danube river. Water is not just a static asset, it is a basic human right. Using it as an instrument of retaliation raises ethical questions that go beyond borders. So guys, this is today's video. Please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel for the more update and more video. Press bell icon for notification. Thanks for watching. Meet on tomorrow next video. Jai Hind.